All right, so this is actually a very good question. Was it hard becoming a pharmacist? It's a very good question, and it's going to require a lot more than 60 to 90 seconds because, short answer, was it hard to become a pharmacist? Absolutely. Hardest thing I've ever had to endure. It was truly, I studied all the time, every day. You got to give up a lot of things socially and all that good stuff. Um, but outside of just, being intelligent or just, trying hard or anything like that, memorizing, sacrificing a lot of your time, the reason it was hard for me specifically to become a pharmacist is because I had to deal with racism in the first school that I attended, University of Tennessee Health Science Center. Um, I experienced, and if you know me, it's gonna sound crazy that this was me, right? That I had these emotions and feelings and stuff. Because for the most part, if you know me, I'm very lax, chill, you know, happy always. After my experience in my 1 year at University of Tennessee Health Science Center, I had social anxiety. I was depressed for 6 months, in like a deep depression. I had legitimate PTSD. I had trust issues. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible experience that started out so well. Started out so well. Now, for me to get into all those things that happened and why I felt those things, I have to start from the beginning. So, and I'm a pharmacist now. I graduated in 2018. I started pharmacy school 2014 with a goal like I'm no matter what, I'm gonna just do my 4 years and get up out of here. Like I'm a. It took so much to get to pharmacy school that I knew I got to take advantage of my time once I get there. So let's start from the beginning. In undergrad, I went to University of Illinois. All right, I played college football there. So so my first year actually, I was on the track team. And I was on the track team, the track and field team, for a year and a half, and then I spent 4 years on the football team. If you were ever an athlete in college, and even if you aren't, you kind of understand that your time is spread out, and it's not just with practicing and stuff like that. It's more so during the season what you have to sacrifice, time wise. They did a good job of making sure you got to study hours and things like that. But I started out a pre med major, and then I ended up going to pre pharmacy, and science classes are Monday, Wednesday, Friday at least. At least Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? So during the season, let my manager pick that up. Bear with me. All right, I'm back. So, we have classes, your classes are usually gonna be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Fridays are the times when you have exams, you have quizzes and things like that. So, being on the football team, especially when I started traveling with the team, for away games and stuff, and home games. But on Fridays, basically at 11 a.m., classes for you are done for the day. You have to go, you have like a little walkthrough practice. And then after that, you go in the hotel. So whatever you're supposed to do on Friday, for me at least, I told my teachers, I'm an athlete, so I can't really be here on quiz day. Can I do my tests and quizzes like Monday and things like that? And they're like, no, if anything, you're going to do it Thursday. So I had to do things a day early. I had less time to study. I had to cram a lot of stuff. And then it was just honestly just difficult to get into pharmacy school, with your prereqs and stuff like that. They want you to, for like your science classes, that's your chemistry, biology, and things like that. Like they want you to have a B, at least, not a B minus. So at least a B. And if you do get a B minus, it's like you can have one and they'll make an exception for it. So I had some B minuses, some C pluses that, I fought tooth and nail for like organic chemistry too and things like that. So I repeated a few classes just so I can boost that grade up and did all these other things. It was very difficult, right? But fortunately, I guess you could say fortunately. So after I graduated and things like that, I got my degree. I didn't go to the NFL. Oh no. So I, was applying to pharmacy school. So you have to take what's called the PCAT, which is like, the test you take to say, okay, I'm good. Before you go to college, you take SAT, ACT. PCAT's the same thing, just a performance test for the how well they think you'll do in pharmacy school, right? So I studied for that, took the test. I'm a great test taker, and I scored in the, I believe, the 80th or the 85th percentile. But they say to get at least 80 percentile, and you're good to go. We trust that you'll have the knowledge to succeed. So when you consider that my GPA was not all that, I had to repeat some classes, and honestly, my grades were always better in the fall when all we had to do was practice versus, sorry, in the spring when all I had to do was practice versus the fall when I had to, play and things like that. So I was honestly just not an ideal candidate, and I knew it. But I'm like, I passed these tests. When I graduated, give me a shot, right? So I graduated from undergrad in 2012. So, and that's the first year that I started, applying to pharmacy schools. So I don't know how it is now, but in 2012 and 2013, and you'll see why I know both of those. But in 2012 and 2013, they had a system I believe it's called FarmCast, and with FarmCast, what you do is it's like brings up all the prerequisites and all the pharmacy schools in the nation and stuff, and you can basically use that website to apply to each one, so you don't have to go to every individual website. Just all in one thing. So your very first school you apply to is $100, and then after that it's $50. So knowing I was not an ideal candidate, I'm like, look, I'm gonna just break the bank, F it, right? I'm gonna just put all my money into it that I had, being a college student with no money. And I applied to about between 30 and 35 pharmacy schools all over America, between 30 and 35. I got between 20 and 30 rejection letters. Some people didn't even bother to respond. I just realized, school year's about to start. I'm not in school. Obviously, they declined. So my first year, 30 applications, 0 acceptance letters. I'm distraught. I'm like, what do I do now? This is the dream. But I'm like, I'm not going to give up. What I did was I went and I took more classes. I'm like, look, okay, there's some C pluses. I got a couple C pluses. I'm just going to take those classes. Let me take organic chemistry 1, get that stuff, get it right. Let me take, redo one of the biologies, get that grade up. Cool. So now it's the next year. And I'm like, all right, and also I worked as a pharmacy technician as well. So I got a job as a pharmacy technician. So like, all right, cool. Now, not only do I have, some of my grades are back up, I got a good PCAT score, but I also now have a year's worth of pharmacy tech experience. I'm your ideal candidate, or at least I am a better candidate than I was the year before. So, of course, I applied to a lot of schools. So it started out like, all right, let me apply to like 6, 7 schools. I still didn't have a lot of money. So I'm like, let me apply to like 6, 7 schools because there's deadlines, and the deadlines are like at different times. So I'm like, all right, these schools got early deadlines. Let me go ahead and apply. And I did. Let's say I applied to 7 schools, 7 rejection letters, and they came quick. I was like, hey, yo, like, did y'all even look at my app? Like, what do y'all do? My transcripts, did y'all not get them? And I'm like, no, we got them. We got them motherfuckers. So I'm like, all right, cool. I know what I need to do. I'm going all in. So the first year was 35 applications. The second year was about 20 to 25. And I got between 20 and 25 rejection letters. It's 2013. I'm like, man, I graduated, 2 years ago, basically. What's next? And I'm like, man, this is a sign, because honestly, being a pharmacist, if I'm being fully honest, it was always plan C, plan B, NFL, plan A still is and always is being an actor. So I was like, you know what? God's telling me just lock and load, man. Just go straight into acting, whatever. This is not for you. So it's almost like the final deadline, because all the schools are on a deadline timeline. And I got $50 to my name, or $50 I can spare, outside of other bills. There's 2 schools that have the final deadline. I can't remember the other school, but it's like it was ranked like maybe number 60, 70 in the nation. And then the other school was ranked, I think, 19th or 9th in the nation. So I'm like, if I have $50 and I'm going to get rejected anyway, let me go ahead and get rejected by the number 9 school, University of Tennessee Health Science Center. I put my last $50 into them, put my application out there, and a week later, they requested an interview. I'm happy as hell. I'm going to be at least have a chance at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. Almost destroyed my life.